Number 10. Dracovish. Dracovish is horrifying for all Pokemon types that it represents. It's just high up on the list in general. It fits into a few different categories including water and fossil in addition to dragon. It honestly is one of the strangest shapes and looks like a cross between a fish and some kind of weird spiky geometrical lizard. Its jaw is what you want to watch out for though, as it has an epically powerful bite. If you ever ran into a Dracovish, you want to just keep your limbs as safely far away as possible. Just keep those arms and legs tucked in, my friends. Oh, and keep your eyes on this Pokemon as well. Despite its tiny little legs, it's known for moving quickly. It's able to run up to 40 miles or 60 kilometers per hour. That is fast. Number 9. Zekrom. When the storms start, that's when you'll want to watch out for Zekrom. Zekrom is a dragon and electric type legendary Pokemon. It might look a little silly with its giant tail, but it uses that tail as an electricity generator to create storms. So definitely not something you'd want to tease Zekrom about. Unless you like getting struck by bolts of lightning, I guess. Zekrom often hides itself up among thunderclouds and can fly effortlessly using its anti-grav field to keep it safely up in the air. So its wings are really more for show than purpose. It looks like a frightening, dark, metallic dragon. Something that would be completely unstoppable if you ran into it on a stormy night. And just a reminder before we move on to that next point to click that like button if you like dragon type Pokemon as much as we do. Number 8. Garchomp. Garchomp looks like a pterodactyl and a plane had a baby. It's got like a little plane head, and I know that makes it sound ridiculous, but trust me, it's still pretty terrifying. This is a dragon and a ground type Pokemon with legendary stats but no official legendary title. It has spikes on its arms and legs and single pronged claws. It also has razor sharp teeth and is known for being a predator. Despite being a ground type as well, Garchomp can also fly at amazing speeds. As fast as the airplane it already resembles. It's like being chased by an airplane with claws and teeth. Yikes. Number 7. Mega Garchomp. Just to upgrade the horror that is Garchomp, we have the Mega Garchomp evolution. Normally I'd lump Mega evolutions into the main point for the same Pokemon, but this one appears so much more terrifying with its scythe-like arms. I just felt it had to have its own point. It had earned it. Fortunately, at least this much more horrifying version of Garchomp is estimated to be about the same size as its unupgraded evolution, but even normally Garchomp is known for being a beast. It is 6 foot 3 inches tall, which means it's also likely got an insane wingspan and length as well. Not a predator you'd want to see gliding above you, possibly looking for a lunchtime or midnight snack. Number 6. Druddigon. Traditional looking dragons are of course always still scary, which is why I was compelled to include Druddigon on our list. It looks like a dragon if someone just cut it out of like a piece of paper with those wavy or crinkly crafting scissors. Do you guys remember those scissors? Does anyone else have those? You can like cut things and then all the lines are already wavy. It also appears to have a bit of a squashed nose. Because it's also so jagged at all edges, however, this seems to also be a Pokemon who is not the cuddly type. I feel like it looks really spiky. It looks just like it's got spikes on every edge of its surface. Druddigon is a straight up dragon type with no evolutions. Honestly, when you're looking at this frightening and intimidating looking dragon, who really needs evolutions, am I right? Number 5. Regidrago. I don't know if it's strange that I find this Pokemon horrifying to gaze upon, but I do. It's both frightening and mystifying in terms of its appearance. Regidrago is a legendary dragon type Pokemon and is known for being one of the legendary titans. Its arms are made up of a dragon's mouth attached to its spherical shaped body. It wields the power of every dragon type and is believed to have the most powerful moves of all other dragon type Pokemon. It is made up of crystallized dragon energy, which gives it this immense power. When attacking with a fire attack, it puts its arms together to create a mouth from which the fire spews at its opponent. Number 4. Kyurem. Kyurem looks like something out of my nightmares. It's a legendary dragon type who fires powerful icy blasts from its head. It not only has sharp icicle claws but also boasts of ferocious fangs as well. Kyurem has also been referred to as the most powerful of all dragon types. It is a dragon slash ice Pokemon who you definitely only want to fight if you feel confident in your chances at winning, as it fleeing isn't really an option when it comes to fighting Kyurem, who possesses an ability called Glaciate, which specifically targets its opponent's speed. Number 3. Rayquaza. This dragon-type Pokemon is another legendary type who is known for being massive. Even when not in their Mega Evolution, Rayquaza is originally a 23 feet long flying green dragon who resembles more of your traditional Chinese-style dragon. It also looks a little bit like a sea serpent with all of its brightly colored fins. Rayquaza is obviously a flying dragon type, and its bright reptile-like eyes and sharp fangs only add to its monstrous appearance. Despite how scary it might look flying overhead, it only has 2 fangs though, so it could probably plummet into you with enough force to just crush you, but when it comes to a bite attack, it's almost toothless, so at least you only have to worry about, every other foot of this beast other than its head. It could also probably still swallow you whole because it's massive, so maybe do worry about its head, actually. Number 2, Haxorus. Haxorus just looks like it is ready to slice and dice you up with its face. It's basically got a double-edged axe on its head. It is the final evolution of the most adorable baby Axew, but don't let this baby evolution lull you into a false sense of security. Axew, in its final evolution of Haxorus, is one frightening and sharp Pokemon. In addition to its axe blade-like tusks, it is also armed with short red claws and long pointed talon-like feet, all the better to scratch you with after it's already chopped you up to death. Number 1, Giratina. Giratina is one of the most horrifying of all the dragon types out there because it is not only part ghost type but also represents some kind of giant monstrous insect with wings in either form. Giratina is also a legendary Pokemon, as most dragons it seems are. Its wings are also capable of shape-shifting while it is in its altered form, and in this form it has 6 legs and no arms to speak of. In its origin form, it looks like some kind of serpent meets bug creature. Each gold ring along its side is capable of latching onto and grappling objects or people. Each ring also has black tendrils flowing out of it with a sharp red spike at the end. This is a Pokemon of my nightmares. When its tendrils are spread out, it also looks like some kind of weird, long spider. I normally like spiders, but not ones that can fly and are a massive 22 feet tall, like Giratina is while in its origin form. Dragon types are some terrifying Pokemon in general, especially as they are some of the largest Pokemon out there, and many of them can also fly. There is also a reason the dragons as a creature have continued to survive in stories and make their way to pop culture and gaming phenomena such as Pokemon. They are noble but fearsome beasts, something you would surely stand in awe of, and also probably run from. Eventually.
In at 10, Dialga. Dialga is known as a deity in Sinnoh myths, which means that people consider it to be a god, which makes sense since it's a part of the creation trio of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, and we all know how I feel about Pokemon gods. However, it's what this Pokemon is a master of that really makes Dialga terrifying. They're the master of time. Dialga is able to warp time either by speeding it up, slowing it down, or just stopping it. Yeah, this Pokemon can stop time. It can also time travel to the past or the future, and we all know how dangerous messing with time can be. Of course, Dialga wouldn't do that, but it did send Ash and friends back in time in the movie Arceus and the Jewel of Life. And if they made any mistake, butterfly effect. We've seen it in all other forms of media that have to do with time travel. Back to the Future, The Flash, Avengers Endgame. Every bit of media that has people messing with time ends up having an effect. And this wouldn't be any different. That's terrifying. He didn't even care. It was just like, hey, passed. In a 9, Reshiram. Well, Reshiram is more like the little toddler that didn't get its way and thus throws a tantrum, because when Reshiram's emotions surge, its tail lights up with a fiery glow and goes into overdrive mode. And with this jet engine shaped tail, this thing can burn everything in its wake. It uses its tail to fly at high speeds, but can also send flames from said tail into the air to incinerate everything around it. Reshiram can straight up start the Pokepocalypse if it wanted to, or if it was just having a bad day. Not only is it capable of burning down your house, but it has before. Reshiram is said to have burnt down entire kingdoms in the past, and by flaring its tail, it's able to control the weather by literally moving the world's atmosphere. That's insane and horrifying to think that a Pokemon has so much control over life and death, and it's just because of its tail. And this isn't even the worst one. Also, by the way, if you guys are enjoying the video, please do us a favor and hit the like button. It really helps us out and can help this video be seen by even more people, and we get to make more fun stuff like this. And at 8, Volcanion. I've always seen Volcanion as scary, ever since the day the first fire and water type Pokemon was announced. However, after reading up on this dude, this fear only grew. Volcanion famously has that ring above its head, and those are actually like high pressure hoses that he can control individually. However, instead of water, these shoot steam. You may be thinking, sure, it's just steam, but it can shoot out steam at such a high pressure that it actually has the ability to blow mountains away. Not just move them, but blow them away. Mount Everest actually used to be in BC. Not only is this Pokemon extremely powerful, but it also hates humans, as shown in the movie Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel, where it targeted the Azoth Kingdom to retrieve Magearna, a man-made Pokemon. This guy can blow away mountains and hates humans? That sounds like death to me, brother. No thank you. And at 7, Curium. Curium is an absolute beast. This Pokemon looks insane. The design of this Pokemon is really what makes me love Black and White and their sequels. This design is some of the peak Pokemon design. Not this generation, since there is literally an ice cream cone that evolves to get more scoops and ice cream cones, but Curium is absolutely nuts. This Pokemon radiates freezing energy, so much so that due to a leak, the Pokemon's body became frozen. It is said to have power that exceeds that of both Reshiram and Zekrom, but the cold keeps it at bay. According to legend, Curium used to eat Pokemon and humans if they were found outside at night, so we can assume that he hates everything. At least he ate them until he ended up getting himself frozen solid. This Pokemon is also able to fuse with either Zekrom or Reshiram, making it the first fusion Pokemon. And even these Pokemon are terrifying. Sure, you can't have it without one or the other, but holy crap, this thing is haunting my nightmares tonight. And at 6, Zekrom. While being incinerated is scary, at least Reshiram looks majestic and like it wouldn't hurt a fly. Zekrom, on the other hand, will annihilate your kingdom with lightning and look like he'd do that and then steal your girl. Zekrom's tail emits an anti-gravity field which it uses to fly, but like, do you know the implications of that? You walk near Zekrom and you start floating higher and higher until you can't breathe anymore. It's like that cursed difficulty that Fundy made for Minecraft. This is some of the craziest crap that you can think of, and it's in a Pokemon game. This guy can summon multiple thunderstorms at once in one area. What the hell does that even mean? There could be like 5 thunderstorms at once? That would cause a load of panic, and like, how does that even work? Would it just turn into a tornado? Would it cause a load of destruction? Probably, because he can destroy a whole kingdom with lightning and has done so before. Halfway through at number 5, Shadow Lugia. Shadow Lugia is a Lugia corrupted by the criminal organization Cypher. Shadow Lugia is also believed to be the ultimate shadow Pokemon immune to purification. This is evident from its appearance, which is different to normal Lugia, something that is unique to this legendary, since all of the shadow or corrupted Pokemon possess a shadowy aura instead. Shadow Lugia appeared in the game Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, where it picks up a whole cruise ship, the SS Libra, and drops it in the desert, allowing Cypher to capture all the Pokemon on board. That's crazy. This is one of the scariest things ever. If the character of Professor Crane hadn't made the Purify Chamber in that game, Lugia would have been lost forever, and been an evil and terrifying looking Pokemon. You have to agree with me that Shadow Lugia is terrifying, but there are a couple more that make things even worse. And at 4, Mewtwo. Mewtwo was first seen as an evil Pokemon who hated humans, but honestly he just wanted to be left alone. Same. However, in the movie Detective Pikachu, we see Mewtwo get corrupted and controlled by Howard Clifford, who transfers his consciousness into Mewtwo and uses him to attack Rhyme City, fusing Pokemon with their trainers, like Mewtwo had done for Pikachu and Tim's father. Mewtwo is the original most powerful Pokemon. The main goal of the original Pokemon games was to eventually catch Mewtwo after becoming the champion, and the fact that this movie proves that one of the most powerful and beloved Pokemon, at least by community standards, can be controlled and used in such a way is terrifying. This is really only talking about the Detective Pikachu universe, but still, nuts and one of the craziest things that we've seen to date in any form of Pokemon universe game. And at 3, Rayquaza. Rayquaza is the beast of a Pokemon. This guy in his original form is 23 feet long and weighs 455 pounds. While he is meant to soothe the other members of the Weather Trio, the territorial nature of this Pokemon means that it will really attack indiscriminately. In the Pokemon movie Destiny Deoxys, Rayquaza attacks Deoxys for invading its territory, even though it was just looking for its friend, another Deoxys, and was not invading territory at all. But also, the shiny of this Pokemon is terrifying. A giant flying snake that is nearly impossible to see against the night sky because it's black with only a couple yellow spots? No thank you. Rayquaza also attacked the rocket ship that Ash and his friends and Team Rocket were on in the anime episode Where No Togepi Has Gone Before, which is really scary since, you know, they all could have died, but they have plot armor so they didn't. Oh, and Rayquaza had a battle with Deoxys that caused the meteor to head towards the Alola region. Kartana was able to cut it up, but if it hadn't, Alola would have been destroyed. Yeah. That's a no from me. And at 2, Yveltal. Yveltal basically has control over death. It has the power to absorb life energy by spreading its wings and tail feathers. And in the main anime series episode The Legend of X, Y, and Z, Yveltal was shown turning a whole kingdom to stone, including people and Pokemon. And when it reaches the end of its life, it kills everything. Yeah, according to the Pokemon Y and Alpha Sapphire Pokedex, when its life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more. Yeah, if this Pokemon dies, everything dies. And apparently me, it's inevitable. Sure, the destruction may be contained to the Kalos region, but even then, literally anything and everything from that region will die. What the hell? That's insane. That's like the Pokemon equivalent of Pompeii. The utter destruction of the world when Yvettal's life comes to an end? How is that not scary? I don't know how I didn't mention this in part 1, okay? But I should've, okay? And for that reason, I'm out. Finally, in at number 1, Necrozma. Necrozma, in addition to looking terrifying, is just like the physical embodiment of a black hole in the Pokemon universe. It's pitch black, which is the result of impurities that built up inside the Pokemon during its deep slumber. It also absorbs light, and once it absorbs enough light, it can ultra burst to become Ultra Necrozma, a colossal dragon of pure light energy. It can also fuse with Solgaleo and Lunala, making even more terrifying versions of the Sun and Moon mascots. Necrozma originates from deep space and is able to open and travel through ultra wormholes. It had the ability to give light, but was injured and partially broke, thus resulting in the spread of crystals capable of activating Pokemon's ability to use Z moves. This Pokemon is the reason we can use Z moves, and he just looks horrifying. Necrozma is my sleep paralysis demon.
Number 10, Volcarona. Giant bugs just creep me out in general, unless we're talking about spiders, which I'm actually pretty cool with. But this Pokemon isn't a spider-inspired bug/fire type. It's definitely like a larvae meets a moth. Yikes. To add to its spooky ickiness, Volcarona also evolves from the Pokemon Larvesta. Volcarona is a giant bug/fire type Pokemon who's also one of the first to be celebrated as a game changer when it comes to other bug Pokemon. It was known for being the one to watch out for, as it can make for a fierce opponent in battle. One of its abilities, Flame Body, sets the body of its opponent on fire upon contact. So if you don't want to go up in flames, maybe keep walking if you run into a Volcarona.
In at 9, Magnetar. Magnetar may not look extremely menacing, but this guy has actual flamethrowers for hands. It's like Elon Musk got his flamethrowers surgically attached to his arm and then just went nuts. And that's not even the worst part. These flames can get up to 2000 degrees Celsius, which is 3600 degrees Fahrenheit for the 3 countries in the world who still use the Imperial system. This guy lives in volcanoes and is totally fine with it. His body can turn white when he pulls a Danny DeVito and just starts blasting, and if he blasts too much, they can literally start melting their arms. This Pokemon will destroy itself as long as it doesn't have to deal with your bullshit anymore. And if that's not the absolutely most horrifying thing, then it would be higher on this list. Oh wait, it gets worse? Yeah baby, this is only number 9. Get ready for a wild ride.
Number 8, Houndoom. Houndoom is a dark fire type Pokemon that looks even more frightening as its Mega version. A Mega Houndoom appears dressed in skeletal armor with a forked tail. Basically, Houndoom looks like some kind of hell dog. Although I have to admit, if I had to own one of these scary fire type Pokemon, I would definitely pick Houndoom. As frightening as their horned ears are, I also think they look kind of cute. Then again, I do have a tendency to find spooky things cute, so yeah. Although if you did own a Houndoom as a pet, you'd want it to be very well trained. Its attacks will leave you with an injury that will never stop burning, no matter how long has passed. An entry from Pokemon Gold elaborates, if you are burned by the flames it shoots from its mouth, the pain will never go away. It's also recorded in Ash's Pokedex as possessing an eerie howl, which causes those who hear it to shudder in fear.
And at 7, Lampent. Lampent is just a floating lamp, right? Not too much that's scary about that, aside from the fact that Game Freak and Nintendo greenlit this Pokemon, and this is the start of their design decline. But nothing is really scary about a floating lamp with a purple flame, until you hear about the lore behind this Pokemon. Lampent can sense when someone is about to die. Yeah, you heard me. When someone is about to die and a Lampent is around, the Lampent will straight up go to steal that person's soul from their body. It also uses it to fuel its fire, so it needs a constant supply, thus leading it to hanging around hospitals, where it will just go around stealing souls. Yeah, imagine being a little kid with your parent in the hospital and then seeing a Lampent walk in. You would be absolutely destroyed. That's heartbreaking. But then you also remember it stole their soul. Therefore, your dear old parent didn't head into the afterlife. Yeah, that's how this works. Sometimes it even works with Litwick to bring people to the ghost world while stealing their life energy. This Pokemon straight up kills people if someone hasn't died in a while. What the flying Game Freak? I didn't include this in the ghost types list because I forgot that I'm including it now, cause holy hell.
Number 6, Heatran. Heatran is just a creepy Pokemon to come across as it crawls around and is known for being a legendary Pokemon who is quick to rage. 2 eyes peer out from its metal-looking skull, making it look as though Heatran is a Pokemon trapped in a metal mask. Its mouth also looks like it's part of the mask, and something that always freaks me out is just creatures who have no mouths, so the fact that it also appears this way on first glance to me is pretty terrifying. Heatran is powerful, angry looking, and can wall crawl, which only makes him a more terrifying Pokemon to run into. Although maybe not for Connor, because he'd just be wall crawling alongside him. Imagine seeing an angry Heatran emerge from the shadows, crawling on the ceiling above you. I don't want to, but you can.
Halfway through at number 5, Emboar. Emboar is the final evolution of Tepig, the fire starter from Unova, also known as Pokemon Black and White in their sequels. Holy sweet crap, is this a scary Pokemon. Emboar is like the fire pig version of the Hulk. Dude's got forearms for days, like Popeye had a kid with the Hulk after eating some Taco Bell fire sauce. This thing is mad freaky. It emits fire constantly from around its neck. It's like the weirdest scarf known to man, but at least it will keep you warm. Emboar has no fear. He will touch his hands to his neck in order to set them on fire for even worse punches, and he's a unit. The speed of this thing is nuts, and it can master fighting type moves and use its fire hands along with it. Not to mention it's also relentless while fighting. It can unleash powerful blasts of fire using only its nose. That nose is one hell of a nose, might I say. And then cloak its body with flames and then just crash into you. What the hell? That's insane. This Pokemon is basically Satan. Literally, this Pokemon could be the Satan of the Pokemon world, and I wouldn't even be surprised. When I go to hell, I'll send a message back letting you know if I see Emboar there.
Number 4, Moltres. Fiery phoenixes are usually thought of as being pretty creatures, but just because you appear beautiful and elegant doesn't mean you can't also be a horrific monster. If anything, the beauty of Moltres just adds to the scare factor as it can be used to lure enemies in. Moltres is a legendary Pokemon from the Kanto region and can rain down fireballs from above when provoked. It also is estimated to be on average around 6 feet tall, which if its dimensions were similar to like a standard fantasy dragon, means it could have an up to 75 feet wingspan. 75 feet is around as long as 2.5 London buses. So just imagine a firebird soaring above you with each of its wings being around the length of a bus. Truly terrifying.
And at 3, Incineroar. I know that Incineroar is in Smash Bros, but that only goes to further my point. Look at this absolute beast. Incineroar is basically what I imagine all cats to be, but with a belt of fire. Yeah, this Pokemon has a belt of freaking fire. This Pokemon doesn't give a flying flock. He just likes to fight. He will disregard the safety of everyone else, sometimes even hitting the opposing trainer with attacks. It's an extremely violent Pokemon and will sometimes ignore its trainer's orders if it just doesn't want to listen. This Pokemon begs for praise from crowds running on it, and will only do well if there's an audience to watch their absolute destruction of their opponent. It only fights worthy opponents and will just laugh at unworthy ones. This Pokemon literally had a move called Throat Chop as its signature, and with over 180 pounds behind that Throat Chop, any trainer who decides to attack for fun is screwed. Big time. This dude is as tall as me but has the arms the size of my head and is willing to probably kill me? No thanks. No thanks at all.
Number 2, Charizard. But isn't Charizard one of the most beloved Pokemon, Amanda? Well, you're not wrong. Charizard definitely is. But they're also the star of many internet creepypastas and other scary stories involving Pokemon. And it is for this reason that I give Charizard one of our top spots. Charizard is basically a fire-breathing dragon who you would not want to get on the bad side of. Although in most fantasy stories, fire-breathing dragons are often the enemies of the heroes and definitely something to be feared. I'm sure most Dragon Age fans and Skyrim fans will agree with me on this point.
Finally, in at number 1, Centiskorch. You think normal centipedes are scary and gross? Well, how about one that can both breathe fire and is constantly emitting it from its face? Yeah, Centiskorch is not only a flat fire-breathing centipede, but he is also 9 feet long. This thing is a 9-foot-long giant fire-breathing centipede. If that's not the most terrifying thing to you, you really need to get your priorities in check. And its Gigantamax version, that monster is over 246 feet long. Yeah, 246 feet. And there's even more fire and even more legs. Legs on the menu, baby. Not to mention the flames they can emit can get to 1.5 thousand degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a very violent Pokemon, attacking anything that comes near it. This thing will wrap itself around you to sear you alive with the organs on its underside that emit flames as well, and just constrict you if it's feeling mean. This guy is an absolute unit. If you have a Centiskorch, you're a god amongst men, because you can do whatever the hell you want, and if anyone tells you different, they'll get fried alive by a 246 foot long centipede. No thank you, good sir. Starting us off at number 10, Glalie. Now I know you're heading down to the comments right now saying, oh, I already know these Pokemon. This isn't scary. Well, if you've played Sword and Shield, there isn't really any Pokemon you don't know, so chill. And if you think that this isn't scary, maybe Glalie can help you chill. This Ice-type Pokemon originally from the Hoenn region has one of the scariest Pokedex entries I know about. In Pokemon Ruby, Glalie is described as having the ability to freeze moisture in the air into any shape it desires. And while that's cool to make some money from ice sculpting, move over to Pokemon Sapphire and the Pokedex reads it has the ability to completely control ice. For example, it can instantly freeze a foe solid. After immobilizing its foe in ice, this Pokemon enjoys eating it in a leisurely fashion. Holy ice pun, Batman, this dude is worse than Mr. Freeze. If Glalie doesn't like you, it will freeze and devour you. You think you have blue balls after November? Just wait until Glalie finds you and eats them. I make blue because they're frozen. Get it? Next up at number 9, Morgrem. This little goblin looks like one of Santa's elves missed out on getting the girl and went emo. This dark fairy type Pokemon from the Galar region is terrifying in both appearance and dex wise. The shield dex reads, with sly cunning, it tries to lure people into the woods. And in Sword, when it gets down on all fours as if to beg for forgiveness, it's trying to lure opponents in so it can stab them with its spear-like hair. I understand that this is a dark type Pokemon, but my god, that's dark. Can you imagine that you scold your dog for taking a waz on your brand new rug, and when you think he's apologizing, he's preparing to stab you with his hair so he's free to relieve himself wherever he wants? Would people really have dogs around in that case? Don't get me wrong, I love my little guy, but if he was trying to kill me whenever I got mad, he would not be around for long. Number 8, Snom. While the Pokemon itself is definitely a cutie, what at least one member of the community has done to this adorable little ball of ice snot is ruining him, or making him better in all honesty. The Twitter account @SnomPosting is a fan basically making this little booger into a monster for all to see. Essentially a racist bug who despises any bug Pokemon who is green, doesn't live in an ice cave, and believes all Pokemon should be ice types. Kinda like Pokemon Hitler. With tweets like, freezes you to death and you die, creating himself his own SCP, which is just him, I am going to commit arson, #firstpost, and actually doing it later on. This Pokemon is nothing to be trifled with, and will screw your whole day up because it wants to. Then it will burn your house down. Kinda like Grandpa. And at number 7, Centiskorch. Do you hate centipedes or bugs in general? Do you like fire? Wait, you do? Oh, that's awkward. Well, how about this giant fire centipede? This 9'10", 264-pound centipede? What? That's easy cheese. Well, how about the 246-foot, 1-inch Gigantamax version of Centiskorch? Good enough now? If that's not enough, try the Pokedex. In Shield, this Pokemon is said to be dangerous enough with its burning body, but this excessively hostile Pokemon also has large and very sharp fangs. Thanks, Shield. In Sword, this description takes on a whole new light because its body can reach up to 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 815.5 degrees Celsius. This is just in its normal form. Its Gigantamax version can reach 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is essentially enough to melt your face off and then make you run screaming for 247 feet, since that's how far you'll need to go before it decides to slam its body on you, vaporizing you instantly, or before it shoves its fangs through your torso. And at number 6, Gorbis. Gorbis is one of the most terrifying Pokemon, so much so that its Pokedex entry had to get a rework. Introduced in the Hoenn region, the Pokemon Sapphire Dex reads, although Gorbis is the very picture of elegance and beauty while swimming, it is also cruel, aren't they all? When it spots prey, this Pokemon inserts its thin mouth into the prey's body and drains it of all body fluids. And when it's finished feeding, its body essentially turns clear. So that means any Gorbis you see hasn't fed and is just waiting for you to turn your back so it can suck your insides out with a straw. As long as it's metal straw. Save the turtles. This was so dark and twisted that in the next generation, the Pokemon got a fix to the dex. In Diamond and Pearl, the dex reads, in the springtime, its pink body turns more vivid for some reason. And in Heart Gold Soul Silver, it says, it's due to water temperatures. No, it's not. It's because it's the reason you can't find your daughter, Captain Kane. Halfway through at number 5, Obstagoon. Obstagoon looks like Ed from The Lion King got tired of everyone picking on him for being dumb, so he ran off, joined a biker gang, and somehow made it to Galar. but it evolves from Linoone. When you think Zigzagoon, you don't think that this is where this Pokemon is going, holy damn. This Pokemon is known for his voice. The shout Obstagoon can make is threatening, scary, and would make any opponent flinch. It's also apparently constantly using the move Obstruct, which is where it gets its cross-armed bipedal posture. If that's not scary enough for you, then just imagine being in a fight with this thing. The only way this would be more realistic is if it had gashes all over its body and blood pooling at its feet. And I'm not talking about his blood. This guy is any Disney hyena trying to break free of his contract. It's terrifying. And at number 4, Mr. Rhyme. Did you think Mr. Mime was scary? What about the Five Nights at Freddy's Galarian version? Well, take all of that, put it in a blender, and throw in some Monopoly money and the Monopoly Man, and like a pound or so of hallucinogens, and you'll get Mr. Mime's new evolved form, Mr. Rhyme. While some people think that this is an improvement, I'm here to set the record straight. This Pokemon is more horrifying, more irritating, and more I'm gonna grab your boobs than any other form of Pokemon. This Pokemon is hell. And if you don't believe me, just look at it. This guy has 2 faces, a nose on his belly and a mustache on his face, eyes that look like he's never been sober in his life, his face doesn't smile but his belly does, and just look at those shoes! What are those ears as well? What the hell? They look like music notes for God's sake. And its shiny form? It just looks like it got less saturated, which is even worse. That's what I do to images to make them creepy. For God's sakes, just take it away. And then number 3, Corviknight. Are you already scared of birds? Does the idea of having one as a pet terrify you? Well, how about one that is part steel and is based on a chivalrous knight? No? What if I told you it is 7'3", 165 pounds, and is described in the Pokedex with, the black luster of its steel body could drive terror into the hearts of any foe. As far as I know, I'm not a foe and it's driving terror into my heart. They are also extremely smart, meaning this bird knows how to strategize and can and will find the perfect opportunity to kill you, rip out your insides, and eat them like spaghetti and meatballs. Ever seen a horror movie with a crow eating someone's intestines? Well, imagine that, but it's a 7-foot tall bird, and that's what's gonna happen to you after the Sky Taxi lands and doesn't like your tip. Not to even mention the Gigantamax version. It has 8 feathers on its back called blade birds that launch off its back and attack foes separately. What? And at number 2, Grimmsnarl. This Pokemon is more built than Girder, and it's literally always working out. The evolution of Morgrem has been seriously juicing and missing Corday. This is the ultimate Spider-Man Green Goblin on steroids, and his Gigantamax version is Calamity Ganon on steroids. According to the Pokedex, this Pokemon can even use its hairs to enhance its strength, wrapping hair around its body and using them like muscle fibers. And when they aren't being used to wreck even more Pokemon, the hair can be used to attack and latch onto enemies. Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, on the other hand, can kick so hard it drills a hole in the ground, and it can also jump over the world's tallest building. However, I don't exactly know how big the tallest building is in the Pokemon world, but still, this Pokemon is the scariest damn thing to come out of the Galar region, hands down. Actually, there is one more thing that is actually worse. Finally, and at number 1, Eternatus. No cap, this Pokemon doesn't look like a Pokemon. It looks like some eternal being who just came down to laugh at us peasants who are forced to walk and suffer at the hands of the 1%. This literal tower is 65 feet tall, 294 pounds, and its Eternamax version, 328 feet tall and an unknown amount of pounds. I calculated it, however, and if it keeps its same density, Eternatus would weigh a total of 10,568.7 pounds. That's 19,894 Big Macs, for God's sake. This Pokemon stays alive by absorbing energy that emanates from the Galar region, and in its Eternamax form, it can absorb infinite amounts of energy. This Pokemon is so endgame to get to it, you should have to play through all the games ever since Diamond. This makes Giratina look like the loser in high school who played Pokemon after it wasn't cool, even though it was you who had introduced him to it like last month. So why are you hating on him? He didn't do anything wrong, he's just following what he loves. Let him be. Oh, okay. Well, that got personal real quick. Maybe that's what makes him so scary.
Number 10, Omanite. Omanite isn't the most scary of all the water type Pokemon, it's true, but it would still be a pretty scary one to encounter in real life, especially with its strangely large eyes. This Pokemon is also still a foot in height, so running into a bunch of Omanites down by a shoreline would still be pretty intimidating and intense. For some reason, Omanite has always reminded me of like a water-based, shell-encased facehugger. This Pokemon is also a fossil type, which means it is old. So who knows, maybe at one point it was a face hugger in its life and could return to hugging faces at any point in the future. Who knows? Definitely a Pokemon that if you ran into it underwater, you wouldn't want or be able to take your eyes off of it. Number 9, Greninja. Greninja might just look like a cute ninja frog, but there are some facts to consider when it comes to imagining what this Pokemon would actually look like in a real world encounter. First of all, this isn't just a small, cute frog water type. This Pokemon is actually listed as having an average height of 4 feet and 11 inches, so it's kind of like more like a giant frog armed with razor sharp compressed water throwing stars, whose tongue looks like it's become tangled and forced to wrap around its head multiple times as the end of it dangles to the side. Not only that, but imagine a creature as tall as 4'11 with a waist as narrow as Greninja's. Sounds like some sort of creepy underwater cryptid. Number 8. Kingler. Anything with pincers is just usually a no for me, which means that Pokemon that resemble a king crab is also a no. I have never been pinched by a pincer underwater, but I wouldn't want to start experiencing that at any point in the future, and it is for this reason that I chose to include Kingler on our scary underwater Pokemon list. At this point, it's also possible for you to encounter a Gigantamax Kingler in the world of Pokemon. Gigantamax Pokemon are typically known for their increased size and durability, meaning they're bigger and tougher to take down. Instead of imagining your normal, still 4 feet Kingler, imagine a 60+ foot Kingler instead. Yikes, that sounds scary. Number 7. Lapras. But especially Gigantamax Lapras. Horrifying just due to its sheer size. Lapras basically looks like some kind of underwater sea monster, like a giant crab or turtle combined with what people believe the Loch Ness Monster might look like. A regular Lapras is around 8 feet tall, with the Gigantamax Lapras being around 78 feet tall. Now that's about as tall as a Brachiosaurus would have been. 78 feet tall is actually almost the equivalent of the length of 2 school buses bumper to bumper. That's big. Lapras looks like a dinosaur, so seeing something like this underwater would likely make you worry that you've somehow entered the same reality as Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Number 6. Blastoise. I actually don't evolve my Squirtle past the Wartortle evolution, usually because I'm just so scared of Blastoise, and I don't want to make a Blastoise of my poor little Squirtle. It's so cute. I actually just keep my Squirtles usually Squirtle because the grumpy faces of both of these evolutions here I don't like it. Squirtle looks so happy. Blastoise looks like they're out for blood. Blastoise might seem like a cool Pokemon to own and battle with, but if you come face to face with this Pokemon, I'm not sure that you're gonna feel the same way. Let's also consider the fact that an angry Blastoise is also always armed due to the 2 cannons that naturally protrude from its shell. And then there are Mega and Gigantamax versions of that Pokemon to worry about. Mega Blastoise looks like they will and actually want to destroy you with their one very prominent cannon. They're like, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna mow you down. Number 5. Feraligatr. It's all in the name with this Pokemon. Feraligatr is literally a combination of the word feral, meaning wild and often bloodthirsty, and the word alligator. So basically we're dealing with a ferocious and unhinged alligator. Yeah, I'm not really about that. Alligators are scary enough to encounter in the wild as is. What if you encountered a Feraligatr instead, who can also walk on hind legs and chase you, but is obviously also skilled when it comes to water battles, being themselves a water type Pokemon. Alligators chasing me on hind legs sounds like some nightmare fuel. Number 4. Starmie. Okay, so maybe I'm the only one terrified by Starmie, but I really don't think I should be. Let me just make my case here for why I think Starmie should actually be revered as one of the most horrific water types around. Starmie isn't just a water Pokemon, but it's also psychic, making it even stronger and more useful of a Pokemon in battle than you might at first expect. And also meaning if you had to battle Starmie face to face underwater, you'd have even more to worry about. Starmies are also known for having access to a diverse range of abilities, so you never know when you face one just what attacks you might be coming up against. They're also known for being quite fast for a water type, which means in summary, you are dealing with a fast, psychic, double-stacked starfish who could maybe attack you with a thunderbolt while you're swimming around underwater. Not a battle that I would like to be in. Number 3. Gyarados. As much as we love Gyarados, it's also basically a giant sea serpent. Not a Pokemon you'd want to find out with swimming just meters below you in a crystal clear lake or ocean. The crazy thing about Gyarados too is it's a Pokemon that evolves from the super harmless and often touted as most useless Pokemon, Magikarp. But while Magikarp's Splash feels like one of the most safe, though mildly annoying attacks you could suffer, Gyarados' Earthquake would likely leave you in a horrified dash as you headed for the shore. Get me out of the water. Number 2, Dracovish. What could possibly be more terrifying than a Gyarados? The frightening fossil hybrid Pokemon, Dracovish. This Pokemon was initially believed to be extinct due to how much of an apex predator it is known for being. It was believed that the Dracovish had actually died out due to severe overhunting of its prey. This Pokemon can only breathe underwater, meaning that it's definitely one that you could only fight against and encounter underwater. Not that you'd really want to do that. It's known to move at speeds exceeding 40 miles an hour, which means outswimming it is basically impossible. Actually, it is impossible. Can you swim faster than 40 miles an hour? Because I can't. Chris, you can't swim faster than 40 miles an hour, can you?
Definitely not.
Doesn't sound humanly possible. It's also known for its ferocious bite and strong jaw. Can we just acknowledge how frightening of a shape this also has? It's like got a hollow middle. What is that? What is this? I don't like it. Number 1, Kyogre. Kyogre is a legendary Pokemon that resembles both a whale and a shark somewhat, like kind of combined. Whales are huge, but aren't typically known for being particularly threatening to humans or really anyone in the water, except for maybe what they're eating, like krill. So why should we be worried about this giant legendary Pokemon? Well, because it is just so powerful. Kyogre is known for being one of the most powerful water types in the game and is powerful enough to create oceans. Basically, a trainer could use this Pokemon to flood the world, and Kyogre could easily drown you and the whole city that you live in if it wanted to. Or it could even do so without really knowing or caring about the lives that it was destroying. After all, Pokemon are just wild creatures. The real horrifying thing is you wouldn't even need to be underwater with a Kyogre to live in fear of it, if it existed in the real world. Also imagine playing a video game and spotting a Kyogre in the distance underwater, and then the closer it got, the larger it appeared. Primal Kyogres are estimated to be up to 32 feet long, and they also have a wingspan for you to consider as well in terms of the size of their overall majestic yet terrifying appearance.